shapes, sizes, and colors. One day, way down in Dixie. There was quite a gathering of them at the American Bus Association's Bus Fest. Now, I want to show you one thing here. That today's buses, as beautiful as they are lacking a little something. And that happens to be shape and size and design. Well, they're handsome in their own right. They don't quite possess the character. They've gotten more practical, of course, and productivity and profit needed to be served, and hence it was. Not that our buses today, like I say, don't have some character. They do. They have their own little looks, as you can see by them parading in front of you here. But I think we all agree that somewhere along about the, the 4103 or the 4104, things went real boxy, and with the exception of a couple of designs, the real bus that was designed for design's sake sort of slipped by the wayside. There's no question here. What you're about to see was one of the most incredible coaches that ever existed. Oh, look at this now. I don't know. I suppose today's. Look at that Setra. That's kind of handsome. That Eagle was too. Yeah, the buses are good today, but the character of the old days is evident in these photos too. Not so much the early days, but naturally we can't tell the story of any historical importance without ever getting involved with Greyhound. Now, I don't know what you'd say about this car, whether it's handsome or not, but it was Greyhound's way of trying to get something unique to put on the highways of America. It was the Pickwick Night Coach, of course, a double-decker with compartmented sleepers. And Greyhound tried, but it didn't quite prove too practical. But that would not keep them from keep on from trying, though. They kept right at it, boy. There's no question of that. They were forced from time to time to buy coaches like this white 54A Streamliner that any operating bus company could have. They didn't like that. They wanted their own designs, their own buses that nobody else could have. Although, in the eyes of the bus hobbyist, the white 54A Streamliner was probably the ultimate in engine-forward coaches. So finally, with the help of Yellow Coach, which was a division of General Motors, this heavy cruiser was born, and she's the Yellow 719. This was long about 1936, and this was the real first breakthrough in buses and comfort and whatnot, underfloor baggage. Oh, it was just the last word, and it evolved into the 743, which the 719 and the 743 are my all-time favorite style coaches. I happen to, think that this was the epitome. But when no sooner was the 743 created in 1938, then the railroads of America started sporting aluminum siding on their choo-choo trains, and Super Chief and all those. So out came Greyhound and General Motors' answer to that, the mighty Silverside. But this is the girl that no matter who you talk to, this is Greyhound. You can talk to an individual who doesn't know a darn thing about buses, and he's going to know what a Scenicruiser is. This has to be credited with the all-time highest visibility bus as far as the public goes. It actually got people out of their cars and into the bus just to ride it, just to go somewhere on it. And there hasn't been a bus since. But she did not start out life looking like you just saw her in that picture there. This was GX2, the original prototype Scenicruiser, the one I wish was made. Notice the little destination sign on top. Oh, we got it just in the nick of time too, because the color in this thing is starting to go. There's no question of that. So we've managed to save it for history. But look at that, the GX2 in motion. Now I was aware. See those glass partitions up over the back area of the coach? I was aware of those. But in a second, they're going to take her off to another little town here in Oregon and show her off. And you're going to see something absolutely incredible that I wasn't aware of. And that's the simple fact that almost, I forget how many glass skylights are on top of that coach. If I was making a model of this bus, boy, would I have blown it. There is so much glass up there. Look at that thing. Isn't it pretty? Oh. The darndest thing is that this coach is still alive, or at least was alive at last report, and running. She doesn't look quite as pretty anymore, but she has not been butchered up either. No windows closed up, none of that stuff. Now here she comes down the street here. Now, will you look at the roof of this thing here? We'll probably try slowing it down. I don't know how good this is going to work or not. But we'll try slowing it down in slow motion for you, just in case you don't have one. Now watch this. Look at that. 2 on the lower level alone. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the front level. And a whole glass deck reaching over the top on the back there. So, like I say, surprise, surprise, surprise. We'll run this back through at the regular speed. That way you'll be able to see it a little bit better. Because when you slow video down, it really goes to pieces pretty fast. There's no question of that. But in the same context, it does show you some details. This little car up in the top of the picture he was barreling through that intersection until he saw that bus and he came to a screeching halt. Scenicruisers had that ability in life. They really did. Even to this day, they stop people. Somebody sees one coming, they like to look it over. The odd thing, of course, is that this is the design that originated in the 20s. ACF Brill had some of these cars, this style car. Quite a few other people did too. Deck and a halves. Kenworth made deck and a halves. So the idea was not new, while the design was. Okay, we'll run this back for you. I mean, these old Greyhound movies they're really precious. Matter of fact, I'm going to feed you a few more of them. Right after the Scenicruiser here, we'll show you some of the old Greyhound promo movies that were made down through the years that we have laying around the place. Unfortunately, a lot of them are in pretty poor shape. There she is. This is normal now. Look at that car come to a screeching halt. Not necessarily because the bus is cutting him off either. It's just his mind was away somewhere else, and bingo zingo, that thing came into view. And here's some of those old Greyhound movies we were telling you about. This is one put out by MCI back when the MC6 and the MC7 were new, and the MC5 was also new. Now take a look at this 7 coming out of here. You never seen a Greyhound 7 painted like that I ever know of. This is a very unique paint job on it. But what makes this 7 even more unique is it has the wheel pants still on it in the back wheel. Now watch as she goes by to make her look like a single axle. Those didn't last very long because they built up snow and ice in there, and boy oh boy, there were more problems than they were worth. So they opened those wells up. Here's some shots in the MCI plant. It shows the top half of the bus being made in its jig, and they bond it to the second half. There's another jig in there that's got the second half below where they will bring them together later on in production. Now these movies here are, there's still a little bit of color left to them. There's the lower half being made up now. With all of her tubing for her electrical and her various linkages and everything. Now MCI, for those of you who don't know, some of it's made up in Winnipeg. Then they put it on a flatbed trailer, and then they truck it across the border to Pembina, where the coach is finished. About the only person who doesn't truck their buses anywhere is Eagle. Both Prevost and MCI have two separate factories. So Prevost, of course, as you'll see later on when we visit the Prevost plant, is just a short distance away. Now this whole scene here, of course, has changed for the years drastically. That little truck no longer exists. It's a regular big trailer now. And that's the Winnipeg plant. That's shown leaving the old Winnipeg plant. That particular plant there now is just research and development and offices. They have a new plant in Winnipeg long since this thing was made. It isn't too far of a run. I don't know, probably 40 miles, maybe something like that. And the plant at Pembina is literally just yards inside the border, where they take her off her flatbed, and then they proceed to finish her off. Now, this particular coach here is painted. I'm sure it was done strictly for the movies, because down in Pembina now they have huge paint shops. I'm almost positive this was done just for the movie. Naturally, when Greyhound started out, their coach became such a hit, such a success, well, at least the MC7 did, that they had to build a plant down in Roswell, New Mexico, for their own production. It wasn't quite ready. It wasn't on its own rubber yet, but shortly you'll be seeing one of the first MC6s. But here they are putting the axles in, the transmission, a little MC5. Boy, I would like to have a brand new MC5 like that, huh? Mm-hmm. Although we've got one in the IBC club. You'd have to see to believe that Max Sheasley owns. Here they are throwing on the tires. Then they'll fire the coach up on a dynamometer, and she goes lickety split without going anywhere in gear. Everything's checked out. This is 4058, 4058. Heaven knows where she is today. So everything reads perfect. There's a 6. There's one of the very first 6s nearing completion right there. And of course those are the ones with the big 12-cylinder engines being installed as well. Oh, I'm sorry. That's 4058, or no, that's 45 something. I was going to say, I could have swore that was an MC5 they were working on a few minutes ago when it was. No question about it. These are old, precious pictures. I've got a few more little joggers here for you yet. Some real nice stuff. I mean, the quality of it is low, but the subject matter is lovely. At least we were able to save some of it. 45.98. There's our number, nice and plain.